Wonderful. Okay, I will see you when I come back then.
Yes.
So, yeah, and like I said, best to ask Spirit as much as possible because it's direct with Spirit, and when I come back, I'm still in another world for a little bit. So, yes, okay. Right, so we're going to go anti-clockwise.
Yes, Archie was there.
Okay, brilliant. So I will close my eyes. They will say who they are, why they've come through, and then invite the first question. Okay, blessings to you when I come back. Greetings, we are here. We come to you on behalf of the Galactic Federation of that which needs to be revealed right now. We come to you on behalf of the Pleiadians. We come to you on behalf of many of the elders that are walking in the sky. And by this we mean that the sky is not outside you, it is within the cosmic galaxy that is co-expanding within you, dear ones. We come to you on behalf of all of the archangels, the elemental beings, and that which needs to communicate. We have come to you on this auspicious time, for there is a time that you understand that there is a cosmic gateway. For you beings on earth are sometimes limited by thinking there are just earth gateways, then there are your galactic gateway. And now we wish to inform you that there is a cosmic gateway, and as this double vehicle of the Merkaba, of symbology of Metatron's cube, but it is the Merkaba that is double, because there is really no higher or lower anymore, dear one. As the worlds start to merge together, then more information and ancient technologies shall be revealed for you to be able to apply and able to understand further, to develop into your lives for the benefit of all beings. Yes, we are grateful to see each and every one of you, dear one. Okay, we will invite your first question.
Thank you. How can I combine all the healing techniques coming through me and understand what am I useful? Transform of blood code for children, for adults. What's your guidance for my future?
Yes, dear one, we are happy to have reunion with you again, dear one, for you have been transforming a lot in the last time since we have connected. We are aware that there are many techniques and information that has been flowing and glowing through you, dear one. Firstly, you must understand that the Pleiadian elders have been communicating to you on many different subtle levels. It has transformed your life through bringing forth that healing and that revelation that you had been waiting for, because you started to be the channel of it. The healing and the techniques and the technology, the ancient technology that is also always been in coexistence and yet forgotten on much of your planet, is starting to be able to be experienced. There are many different forms of this ancient healing, and much of that is connecting you with Lemuria. There is the importance for you to understand that the Pleiadian ones are connected very much with the sixth dimension. Currently, most humans are on the third dimension. The plants, the animals, the foods are on the second dimension, and yet you need to consume that to be able to stay alive on the third dimension. And yet the fourth dimension is more from the heart center. That is why the ancient techniques say think less with your mind and more into your heart, because that is the fourth and the fifth dimension. And then you must understand that the finalization of the fifth dimension is coming more into your full power, into your higher self, of realizing who each and every one of you are as an individual aspect, and yet also as a collective one. And then the next dimension, the sixth, is the Pleiades. And this is what you need to remember for when you can integrate some of those healing and spiritual wisdom, there will be much more that will be revealed. And then the next levels are places like the seventh dimension of like Sirius and as such. And then it continues to go up and up into the, yes, the galactic expression, the angels, and eventually to the cosmic gateway, which is what we have initiated at the beginning, that it is starting to happen to some beings who are ready to fully remember and wake up to the completeness of who they are. Therefore, you see, you are doing quite well for many beings on Earth who are fighting, who are trying to survive. We remind you trying to survive, for even there can be billionaires and they can be trying to survive, or they feel unsafe on the world. They can be existing in the third dimension, and the fifth is of the higher self. And yet you are starting to work, and you have been working with the sixth dimension of the Pleiades. So that is a good thing, dear one. And for you to understand further, we will answer that in the next question. But for now, you can contemplate on that which is going forward. Yes, we invite the next question, dear ones.
Okay, I have been struggling regarding my job, and I feel locked for a while. So what should I do in the near future? Where should I start again?
You see, dear one, once you have felt that you are locked or trapped, you must understand first that has come from a feeling. Even if it is so, there is a saying that if you were to look out the windows, one being will say, oh, it's beautiful. Another being will say, oh, I'm trapped. Another being will say, look at the moon, look at the stars, look at the lights. And another will not leave their room. Therefore, yes, you have acknowledged the feeling, and yet you have been locked in due to your physical 3D reality regulations and commitments. And yet, truly, you are always the captain of your own life, dear one. We do see that there are journeys and there are things changing for you, and there is things that you must understand further, that you have a unique ability to understand accountancy, to understand some how do we express some things with numbers, not numerological. It's a different way. You can understand numbers more than others can understand, in their precision, in their way of thinking, and therefore it is time for you to understand that, like we have stated, you are the captain of your life. There is an initiative that you can enforce and you can bring in now a new career into your life. But we do see that you cannot stay in this job too long. It is important that by December you have finished, if not sooner. And we would advise sooner, and yet we know there are some regulations that still need to be overseen. When there is often one change, it is often good to change another area in one's life. Be it accommodation, be it location, and we do remind you, in your state of well-being and feelings, it is important for you to understand the saying location, the location where you are in the world, the location where you are in your mind and your spirit, and how to again integrate that into a state where you are the captain of your life. For yes, the changes are happening, but the changes are happening because those that you have been in business with and working for has not been in true alignment with your heart's core. As you are a slightly older spirit and soul, which is a good thing indeed, our friend, that we must remind you that it is important for you to progress. You must be removed from an area where the vibrations are lower. Yes, we will touch upon more of that at a later stage. We invite the next question, dear one.
Okay. I would come to ask your guidance for me, for my life. I have some feelings that normal people don't feel, and I also see something and hear lots of things that normal people don't hear. And it started actually 1.5 years ago. That people tried to make connection with me and tried to give their messages, wanted the guidance for me to give their messages to their families or the other ones, and I actually don't know how to deal with it and how to manage it. I actually want you to guide me for this thing.
Yes, dear one, for you feel there are many people watching you at times. You feel there are many spirits watching you. You see, some people can be in a room of 1,000 people and they feel alone. You can be in a room with nobody and you feel there are many people. You can be in a room with people and you feel them and there are other spirits. What your path has been starting to take you on is because of your karmic collection, shall we say, if we can state it in that way, if we may, that because of your karmic collection of the lives that you have lived before, it is time now that you do the meritful deeds of sending some beings to the light and communicating to them. The first way we are guiding you in this state of communication is feel no fear, for love is here. And then the second way is that you need to communicate with both your higher self and the spiritual guides that are working with you. We remind you of the Pleiadian energy that is appropriate for most of you present here tonight. And why that is there is the Pleiadian energy is where all of the archangels come through, for they can only come through the 6th dimension, for they are not allowed to come and penetrate through your higher self. They must come through the aspect of the bluish areas, shall we say, the bluish constellation of that which is revealing healing. For one can only reveal healing when one has come and worked with the archangels. Therefore, there is some archangel alignment and some archangel work that you need to understand further. And indeed, it is important you learn to sense energy. Yes, you say you feel it, but you need to be able to control it and adjust it a little bit. It is like when you set a fire up or you have the gas on a stove or an oven or something. You must be able to understand the frequency of that which you need. Otherwise, it will become too overwhelming. So it is like this fire, this gas has been turned on by itself, not really intentionally, and now you are a bit shocked of how to use it, how to direct it. And there is a different form of gas, whether you fry something, you boil something, you bake something, or it is a fire. You have to be able to ensure protective mechanisms are involved. You must understand the first rule with fire is that you respect. So the first rule of working with spirit, be it bad or good or neutral spirits, you must be able to respect that energy that is communicating, and then you must be able to discern to test thy spirits. For there is no danger in testing the spirit. Is it a good spirit? Is it mischievous? Is it an angelic spirit? Why have they come through? You must be able to differentiate and to discern the quality, the nature, the message, the communication, and the energy of this. This is something that is developed and evolved over time, but the first step, it comes with that respect. And then additionally, it must also be felt and exposed, but you must not allow another spiritual entity to get in the way unless you give their permission or you have an agreement with them to facilitate the benefit of all beings. We do remind you, for many beings will experiment with things with working with spirit, and they will not fully understand that they are not in alignment with fully respecting them or being able to have an agreement. You see, there must be an agreement, like there is an agreement for there to be fire on your planet, like there is an agreement for there to be rain and sun on your planet. There is an arrangement, an agreement with this natural order. Yes, there are big problems happening in your world, be it earthquakes and volcanoes and as such. But they have always happened because they are there to remind the humans of the natural agreement. When the agreement has either been broken or needs to be readdressed, to brought to the surface, did that person lie? Did that person forget who they were? Did those people just try to survive instead of realizing that they can only thrive when they are united with the higher dimensional realities, such as the cosmic gateway? Then they will understand it further. Therefore, we do see it is important you work with your archangel guides And yes, Lemuria is important for you. And it is also important you work more with the flowers and the smells. You test thy spirits, and you start working with Saint Germain, as Saint Germain will show you what is real and what is not real, dear one. Yes, dear one. It is a lot smoother than you feel. Yes. We invite the next question, dear ones.
Thank you for everything, and I want to learn about my family's health and career.
And what, sorry, dear one?
Health and career.
Career, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, dear one. Yes. Therefore, we are happy to see you again, dear one. Also, we see that your family's health is like a touchstone, and by what that we mean is your family's health is theirs. You see, you're a lovely being, but you often try to take away another's suffering or another's blessings, we say. But you cannot live another's life. You have to be able to be in your own power. And by this we remind you that about your family's health, yes, whilst it is important, you must be able to thrive because you will be the guidance that is needed for them. And by that we remind you that the real understanding of what you need to understand is how to start working with the healing of your hands, the healing of the crystals. You need to be able to bring that to your family, especially 4 members of your family. And it is important that you understand with your career that the energy, that things are changing, that there is a need for you to integrate more of a musical, creative, artistic expression back into your life and to your reality. We do see that there is the need for you to do some events somewhere. There is the need for you to reveal that which is waiting to be revealed. We do see that there is a unique capacity within you to be able to bring forth new things, yes, that has not been revealed or seen or understood before. You may not understand, but you are good at some form of expression, be it art or also voice. Therefore, if you can do some art with voice, with crystals, it would be quite amazing. For imagine things in the past used to move because of music and sound, but then they come into physical manifestation. If you can put that on paper and put some sand and crystals and bring forth that which needs to be revealed to those that are ready, you may find your answer in relation to the career. It sounds complex, but it's actually something that is happening quite organically, just like the leaves fall off the tree and another sprout is there. Yes, it's quite beautiful. We invite the next question, dear one.
I still couldn't decide what to ask, so let's carry my next questions up to your answers. Just I'm wondering if they have any messages for me. Then I'm gonna decide my questions.
Okay, dear one, so yes, welcome. You see, it's very interesting. For you say you have no questions, and really you have more questions than everyone put here together. It's quite interesting, for you are like a treasure trove of interests, of new doors, new stellar gateways that are opening. There are cosmic gateways, there are physical gateways, new openings in your life and your consciousness. It is like now you have to start recording. And we mean there are many ways of recording, being written, voice, video. There is some aspect in being able to film the life of your reality right now, dear one. For, you see, you are quite an interesting being, for you have an eclection of wisdom and interests. And now there is a need for you to combine them into the state and to bring them into the form of expression. You have many interests, many new areas that are starting to be revealed. And by it starting to be revealed, there is some truth and element that you must be able to fully understand. By you saying that you don't have many questions is not entirely correct. And yet by you ready to use your treasure is beautiful. and you not stating that this is that and that and that. You are holding your hands open now, and you are ready to receive all that who you are, which is quite majestic. For you will realize you have some ability, you have some power also in manifesting, in healing, and in going forward into these many opportunities that are coming. There are business opportunities, there are opportunities taking you traveling a lot, there are opportunities filming, recording, there are opportunities opening your spiritual awakening. You will have some Kundalini experiences, you will have some connections that will take you more outside of your denser reality, shall we say. But you are quite interesting, for you are more protected than you would realize, dear one. Yes, there is a need for you to be in the forests, in the trees at times, for there will be some messages that shall be revealed to you. There is the need for you to understand at a spiritual level you have let go a lot, you have forgiven a lot, and therefore the state of the karmic vibration that you are in now is being receptive to the higher information that is coming through. Yes. We invite the next question, dear ones.
Thank you. I received a message through channeling about children's 4 to 7. The name of the program, they said that Lissy Cat. Which techniques am I going to use for this program? Is it the pocket, or is the box, is the application, and is it about Switzerland? So how can I earn the money?
You see, dear one, it is like having the true eyes now. You are starting to be able to see that which you have not seen before. The machine, the connection, it's more of an energetic state, and yet we do see that you can look into the bioresonance machine and the devising your own machines in the near future also. There is the need for you to go to England and back, to England and back, and Germany and back. There are people that you will meet there, and to Switzerland. These 3 countries will have an impact in that which you will understand about dealing especially with children who have problems and issues. The bioresonance will help you to understand what is going more on in the body and the mind and the spirit. And it is important that you understand, you see, there is a place, the Lyrians, shall we say, the Lyrian beings are like the feline beings, for there are reptilian beings, there are spiritual beings, angelic beings, there are pranic beings, there are enlightened beings. And you work with some form of the feline beings who are connecting the dots together. For when you connect the dots together, the children understand. That is why there is a game or a drawing you have in your children, often with join the dots, the dot to dot. And therefore, for you to understand the healing technology is to understand the dots, linking the dots. This can be worked on the astrological form. It can work, be bringing forth the mind, the body, the spirit. It can be on a nutritional format. It can be as a healing resonance format. But you must understand that it's all about those little dots, and each of those dots mean a message. And that is why even like the Morse code used to be the dots, the dots, the dots. And therefore, the message is the dots, dear one.
What is feline?
The feline is the Lyrians, the Lyrian. For these Lyrian beings are communicating through you in codes. It is more of a energetic, although we say feline beings, they are not. It's just that yet they are on a constellation similar alignment, communicating that which needs to be communicated.
With symbols?
The symbols come with the dots, the codes, the shapes, the colours, and more shall be revealed during the process of that. But it is an eclection of the symbolic references that they are coming on behalf of. And you have been working with the blue, the green. It is time to work with the yellow now, dear one, the yellow colour. Yes. We invite the next question, dear ones.
My question is regarding love, relationship, and marriage. Is there still any, and where is?
Are you ready for it, dear one?
I don't know.
You see, dear one, that is the thing. For one to claim their power, for one to claim into their higher expression, their higher self, for one can sit with the situation because it is what one feels knows is safe, is secure. This is why we referred at the beginning. There have been many beings who survive. We envision for now, and we wish you to thrive, dear one. When you state that you are ready in regards to claiming your higher self, to claiming your full potential, it will happen perfectly. Alignment. For you have had these situations, you have had food, you have had love, you have had, but it has never nourished you. And now the timing has come for you to be nourished. Love is coming to you by the month of July. This we are certain, and this will be more in alignment with your twin flame. This is coming to you because of your willingness to be humble in knowing that there are greater things outside there for you to integrate into your being. For it is not like you are saying you need it, it's not saying you want it. You just say, I'm ready for my highest spiritual, physical, emotional potential. You are loved and supported more than you could ever know. Many of your friends, your connections, your families are in deep respect to you and do not understand that this suffering that you put yourself through because of your feelings and not being able to fully decide. Make the decision, claim your higher power, and indeed it is coming to you. And July the 21st will be very symbolic for you. July the 21st to the 25th, you shall meet indeed, dear one. And it is important that you understand that the relationships are a mirror image, and all relationships are like the karmic exchange, the karmic reunion. There is a time when you're in one's life, away from one's life, and there are some beings you shall always be connected to. You understand this at a greater state, a greater height, and you will be able to integrate it into your life. But we do remind you that the future is a lot brighter and more complete, for you have been feeling separate at times and overworked, overstressed, but it is coming to you in this perfect timing. There is no such thing as suffering in our eyes because the divine timing is there when you are ready. When you are ready, and you are basically ready. You just have to communicate now. You are loved, dear one. We invite the next question, dear ones.
Yes, I have a 11-year-old son. He's in the autism spectrum and has lots of development issues. And I also know that there's a reason for that, why I did this, and why did he choose me? What's the reason for that, and what kind of a lifestyle should I have for him and also for me? How should I move on?
Okay, dear one, talk to these two. Yes, these two will be able to guide you, dear one. Yes, for they are working on the similar the similar things. They are teachers, you know. They have a collection of knowledge, and they have to help now, dear one. For we've directed it to see, we see it. Yes, so that is needed. If you choose, you have free will, but they can both help, dear one. The second thing is, with the autism, you've got to understand that you must be strong. Do not punish yourself, for you have been very open. You have been very open to higher beings, yes, but you are often very critical to yourself. What happens if this happened, or this had been this way? Would this have happened? Let go of that, dear one. That is all the mind chatter that leads nowhere. You bring things back to the center core. When you bring things back to the core gateway, the core cosmic gateway, shall we say, things will improve. Yes, there is some things that just need to be tweaked a little bit, dear one. Nutritional aspect, it is far greater to avoid too many of the fruits and the sugar in this situation. It is important to ensure enough of the essential fats are included and a lot of the herbs. Because your son is very articulate, very clever, but very sensitive. It is important that you incorporate some herbs into the nutritional aspect, for the herbs will communicate at a small cellular frequency that will communicate and help them to stay strong and more balanced in their life, for it is like there are the highs and the lows and the energy, too much concentration, nothing. There are many things that can be done. It is firstly important, yes, they are at this crucial stage now. No immunizations or vaccinations are required in the future. That is the biggest cause of the autism being able to thrive, is that it is actually a mass-made, humanized governmental control system, much like many viruses are on your planet, dear one. Therefore, do not have the vaccinations or the immunizations. It is not advisable. We do remind you, in this case we are saying we really do not advise you. I mean, we know you have these free will, but we are communicating to you on your higher self, of the spirits, of the good spirits, and we are saying it is really, really not advisable, dear one. It is some areas of the nutrition need to be applied accordingly. For the sugar gives the highs and the lows. It is far greater for the carbohydrate to be the grains, the building foods, the gentle healing foods that are there supportive, the essential fats, some of the wild foods, for there is some intolerance to some of the man-made foods, and yes, even some foods that you eat are man-made that you do not understand, for coffee is man-made, fruit is man-made, dear one, for it is grown not from the wild, it is grown in a controlled force, and therefore it is not to be obsessive, it is yet to be applied to the aspect of being able to bring forth healing and for your son to flourish and live more of a meaningful, longer life. There are some crystals such as the amber and the coral that is needed for your son to carry with him. For this is the remembrance to teach the child, the teenager forming, the adult growing, getting stronger, that they are safe in a human body. For children with autism, you see, are actually very intelligent, but they feel it's a punishment to be on earth. Believe it what you may, dear ones, for we are not saying it is, we are not saying it isn't. We are just saying it is a form of belief, a form of feeling that you are experiencing your third world reality, shall we say, your third dimensional world reality. And yet there are many dimensions that are available to you at every given second of your time. Therefore, the autistic children are tuning in that there is indeed a higher out there. And indeed, they bring the ability in your life to be able to sense spirit. For yes, it is the children that are the teachers, and the adults are the students. But you must understand that they come forth with this higher feeling, and yet it must not be compromised. It must not be seen as failure or instability, or it's quite the opposite. It's there to allow all beings to thrive, to come into their true beauty of who they are. Yes, it is important the fresh air is there as well. The fresh air is needed. And it is important that they are able to stretch at times, for when they are able to stretch, they are able to, understand that they're in a body. They often forget that. They are in a body, they're in a life, but it is safe. And they can still connect to the higher expression of who they are, and they can still enjoy the life and the spiritual realms. They do have some ability that it will need to be communicated and developed in the near future at the age of 14 to prevent any challenge ahead. Yes. We invite the next question.
My daughter must live in abroad or Turkey. What's your suggestion?
You see, a mum always wants a child to be near. And yes, whilst this is true, it is true for both of you that there is love, there is care, but there is also the need to be more outside of Turkey in the following years, the following journeys, that there is going to be the need for your daughter to be outside of Turkey more than residing in Turkey. One reason of this is there is going to be big changes in Turkey, and there is also the need allow a child to thrive. Indeed, each one of you allow yourself to thrive. Therefore, when you allow yourself to thrive, you will realize that you are alive, a spirit in a temporarily bodily capsule, shall we say. And therefore, if they were to stay in Turkey, they would not necessarily thrive. But to be outside, they would indeed thrive. Yes. We invite the next question, dear ones.
I don't trust modern health methods, modern doctors' methods. I don't really trust. So I haven't been in hospital maybe more than 5 or 6 years. I don't use medicines. I just follow my spirit and the guides that I trust. Now I'm not sure about my health. I feel healthy, but of course I'm catching something. Sometimes I don't care, but something's happening inside my body. Do you have any suggestions, or is there something really important that I have to care and to do something?
Yes, dear one, for we see that you have this inner guidance that does lead you to certain forms of healing, of understanding the consciousness whilst in the body and understanding the life's process. It is quite good that you have not sought too much outside medical help, for that was what was enforced upon, especially after the First and Second World Wars. But it is not really necessary in your world, and now people are starting to wake up and remember that. That is good. We remind you the need for you to be in the forest, in the woods, and to see what plants come to you. For there may be a weed, and it may have some form of nutrition. There may be a mushroom. There may be everything in nature is there for you at that right time. And you may be walking and you see something, or somebody gives you something. It is important to understand that which comes to you is that which you need. And when you are in nature, nature is constantly giving, dear one. And what is the body? The body is nature. Therefore, the body is not giving you pains, it is giving you messages. The body is always giving. If you feed a body, it will always give to you. If you starve a body, it will always give to you. If you harm a body, it will give to you. If you love a body, it will give to you. People get confused by this, for they often say, oh, this body is doing this, now this. No, that is the mind, dear one. And therefore we remind you, yes, there are things going on, there are shifts happening in your body, in your spirit, in your mind. And yet we are saying it is for the greater good. We are saying that it is only when there is a little storm, there's some indigestion, there is some heart palpitations, there is some energetic flow that is disrupted, that one can understand, oh, the body, the nature is communicating to me, and it is giving to me. For it is giving to me the messages that I am ready to hear and be revealed to. It might not be what I wanted to hear, it might not be what I expected. But when any form of indigestion is experienced, it is there because of a form of resistance. If there is any form of the heart palpitations, it is, oh, that has come, where's that come from? It was not expected. And therefore we must understand, you can still feel that indigestion, shall we say, flow through me experience, communicate, give to me my body, my nature, and communicate that which I need to understand to be able to apply to the greater scheme of things. For it is like energy. Energy is always giving. You see, you beings on earth, you have what you people call electricity, and you have a form of man-made light, and it always makes us laugh, because in spirit we say there is no need to seek outside energy. There is always plenty. It is like you beings on earth, you say, what can I do to get love in my life? What can I do to get money in my life, which is energy? What can I do to get this in my life? We are saying, you look at the sky. It is always full. You look at the darkness, it is always full. You look at the energy of who you are, it is always full. But you beings on earth are always unsure about that which you are digesting. Did I eat the wrong thing? Have I got a problem? We are just saying it's all energy. Understand your energy and start to work with it, start to move with it in a beautiful rhythm. When you have this energy, you understand it just like the planets in the sky. The cosmic gateway will only open when you allow to work with the energy of who you are. It is not that you have to go to the light. It is not that you have to go to the dark. It is not that you have to buy this or do this or do this. You have to work with the energy. Yes, there are tools on your earth, be it money, be it food, crystals, transport, material things, clothes, jewelry, petrol, striving. But they are tools. There is nothing wrong with any one of them. When you understand that that tool can help you to process the energy, and yet where did that energy originate? You have to be able to harness the energy and understand that that energy is within you. Yes, dear. We invite the next question.
I need the help for my translation. Aynı soru benim de geçerli. Bedenimdeki işte karın bölgemdeki şişlik ve bağırsaklarımdaki sorun seanslarla mı alakalı? Healing seanslarıyla mı?
Is bloating in my body and also the abnormal part of my body
Ve çenem.
is about the sessions.
Hı hı.
Channel.
Çenemde
And
biraz
also I
sıkışma
have
var.
some stuck in my chin.
Bunlar
Is that all about my sessions or something else?
Hı hı. And about my health of my body.
And how can I solve this?
How can I solve this? What can I eat or what
Should I take?
should I take or shouldn't take?
Yes, you see, dear one, you are like channeling some of the energies of the world. But one thing we remind you firstly, it is important to be strong, for if you beings are not strong during the coming years, then you will fade away. Therefore, you must understand that nutrition, strength is important. You must be mentally, spiritually and physically strong. Therefore, you must make sure you are appropriately nourished according to each individual's needs and requirements. You must understand that physically you have enough energy, you have enough sleep to be able to be prepared for the, we call it serendipity really here in spirit, but you would call it shock, trauma, excitement, surprises. Yes, surprises. There will be many surprises that will come to each and every one of you, dear one, and you must be prepared. Therefore, this bloating, this is about you trying to understand that which your spirit knows, but the body is rejecting currently. Yes, some of it is from slightly doing these sessions for you over try. You see, we in spirit remind you that it is not always needed to try. But what we just stated, energy. Learn to work with the energy. If you over try, you are going to die, because you will burn out. You have the energy, you feel it, you work with it, you allow us to guide and to teach and assist you. For you beings on earth, you think, I know how to eat, I know how to walk, I know how to sing, I know how to jump, I know how to brush my hair, to go to the toilet. We are saying, you don't know anything, dear one. We're saying each and every one of you. We are saying allow us to work with you and allow you to work with the energy that you have been given and gifted. For there is an infinite supply of this treasure trove of energy. And each and every one of you must be like a baby in spirit, a baby on earth. feel the energy. Do not attach to anything that you think you know, for you know everything and yet you know nothing, dear ones. Yes, we can guide you accordingly to what you should eat or what you should do, and yet we must remind you, what we guide you this year will be different to next year. What we decide you in this location will be different to another location. And therefore we say take everything with a pinch of salt. And by that we mean take it with a pinch of salt, throw it over your shoulder, and remember that everything keeps changing. And yet to address your bloating, the areas in your body, it is important that you give yourself some space, some time, so to fully digest things at a time. For example, if you eat, let's say, cheese, do not eat it with bread. Eat the cheese and eat the by itself, or as simple as possible. When you eat the pasta or the rice, you eat it by itself. For you, your current situation, the more simplified your diet, and even macrobiotics may work for you, dear one, for you are starting to be able to learn about how things work with you and able to help another with, especially the children. And it is important to understand that the candida is got out of control in your physical body and digestion, and you need to take control over that because it is starting to grow too much. And it is good that you understand that this has happened for a reason, for there will be children and beings that will come into your life that you will be able to give a proper diet accordingly. It is like you will recommend that they can eat the potatoes and the salad at one meal, and then they can consume some form of the protein at another meal with some more like form of natural nourishment, shall we say. But the important thing is that you understand it is not really what you eat per se, it is more of the alchemical contribution, the timing, and also the allowing for the appropriate digestion and assimilation of certain nutrients. For this alchemical procedure will make you understand things further. That is why some beings on your earth that struggle is often the candida, the energy shifts in the body, and some things that need to be more in alignment. Those that do not have digestive problems have the appropriate spacing, therefore breakfast, a late lunch, and maybe an early dinner. And it is important that you understand that it has to be assimilated before another meal is embarked upon, and that assimilation is dependent on each and every individual of you. And just because you eat one thing today and it doesn't bother you, that may not always be so. You are constantly changing and evolving and growing, dear one. And whilst for you personally a vegetarian diet is most optimal, we do see that will also maybe possibly change in the near future also, dear one. But it is really important that you understand that that which you consume is more than just nutrition. It is the air you breathe. It is the energy, the feelings, the thoughts, and so forth. Yes, and the energy, the colour you need to work with is specifically the yellow, dear one. The yellow, and anything that is white, the white foods are good for you. Be it the onion, the garlic, the white rice, the cheeses. For the white will clean some of the areas that need to be cleaned to move them, keep them moving, dear one. We invite the next question.
Which countries and which part of the world should I travel and visit? And also, should I start thinking about to move to Turkey to start a new life?
Yes, dear one, you see you have many opportunities. And whilst we do see the Middle East, we do not like too much of the sand, you know. It is like there are projects transpiring for you, going to transpire in the Middle East, and we do not mean the Middle East as such. We mean, yes, well, okay. We mean some areas such as the Dubai, Bahrain, Abu Dhabi, places like that. They will start to be a proposed option for you. And yet, too much of the sand, too much of the dust will not be something that will be very fulfilling for you, and yet it is there, whether it is travel, whether it is work. And yet we do also see that there will be other options for you to move. And whilst we know it's one of the furthest places in the world, we do also see that Australia, as much as you will be surprised, is going to happen. Australia and New Zealand are going to move you, definitely visiting and almost settling down there by December. For why this has happened is there is some part of your ancestors that has left long, long ago that you need to go, you need to stay. And about having a base, there will be more of a base in the Americas, and as we say Americas, we are using the olden style, therefore the Native Americans' energy is there for you. And yet we know you will be surprised at much of this because it is quite far out there, shall we say. We do remind you that it is facilitated by spirit, so it is not that you have to try, because you like to have plans, but we are saying plans are there to be broken. For we have mentioned to each and every one of you that the serendipity, the surprises that are coming, are there to remind you that there really is a higher force assisting each and every one of you. And if you are here tonight, if you are listening to this, you must understand that you are going to be protected. We can ensure that. There are going to be great changes and great things that are happening, but it is not to fear, and it is time for you now to start to thrive into the life of who you are. And we do see in July you will be going to Paris. Yes, this is certain. We invite the next question.
Yes. I lost my father when I was 13 years old, and I lost my mother 4 years ago. And this year I realized that I have spent my years by accusing them and being angry for them, especially for my father, that he left me alone. And I realized that I'm trying to move on, yes, but I couldn't manage to have a healthy relationship with the other guys. So since I'm divorced and leaving my son, I would actually ask whether to my father, I have a question for my father and to my mom, that is it okay? I started to have some sessions with myself, trying to listen to them and trying to make a connection with them and trying to, of course, forgive myself and forgive them. I would like to ask them whether it's okay or not.
Firstly, dear one, understand that the problem is not the cause. Therefore, feeling the pain, feeling the hurt is never the cause. It could never be that way. If one feels hurt or affected by the parents, by another being, it is never the cause. It is the problem is that of one's processing, one's digestion, shall we repeat again? The digestion, the assimilation of life. Now, what does it mean to digest? It means to separate the crap from the good. Yes, dear one. Therefore, you must understand to let go of the pain and keep the good. And as we ask to communicate to your father and mother in spirit, we remind you that although you are asking, it has already been initiated, and you are indeed talking through a channeler, a medium, and us in spirit. Therefore, we remind you that that guidance that you receive, that love, that information, is indeed true and one of light. But indeed, you have free will of how you interpret and how you assimilate it also. Therefore, we remind you, it is not what you do, it is not who you are, it is the energy you start to work with. for the energy is all the same. There is only one energy that each and every one of you live with, die with, grow with, complain about, love, hate. It is all the one energy. It's just you need to learn how to apply it and to work with it, dear one. So please wait while we connect to your father and mother in spirit. You see, your mother and your father are both in different places, even in spirit, dear one. It is like they do not wish to come and communicate together. They are communicating one at a different time. Therefore, your father is reminding us of the strictness in his life and that he needed to enforce discipline, and he wasn't always as close to beings as he wished he could have been, and yet he did that for his own protection. And yet he also sees you like a 7-year-old child, and he wishes you to be able to feel that you are loved and to be able to be nourished. For much in your life you have attracted the abusive relationships, and this will no longer serve you. He reminds you of the no such thing as coincidences. Look who's around you and they will come into your life. And as your mother comes through, she reminds you that yes, there was separation in much of your ancestors' lives and reality. And yet she reminds you it is like a bracelet. Putting on the bracelet, taking it off, putting it on, putting it off. It's still the bracelet, and therefore the love she had for you, the love she has for you, has never died, has never gone. She reminds you that relationship is around the corner, for you are loved. There are no such things as the coincidences. The beings around you are those who karmically you have a resonance with. It may not be who you expect, but it happens because of the place of what we bring to your life. It is important, she reminds you of the rose. Well, she liked the roses, and she said, why have you forgotten the roses? She invites you to be able to communicate to and through them, and yet not by seeking, more by merging with them. For as you merge into different realms, you will start to understand. One of them is on the heart realm of spirit. The other is on the digesting, processing, assimilation of that life which they have lived. And yet there is no hierarchy by any being, dear one, by any energy. It is more about processing that which who you are. You must understand you are loved, and it is perfectly okay to cry. For at times you bottle in those emotions, those feelings, those experiences, to be tough, to be strong. And yet emotions are like the gatekeepers, shall we say. The emotions are the gatekeepers, therefore what does that mean? The emotions have the key to open the gates. Use it wisely, precious dear one. It is assisted, it is approved, be it as long as you follow this guidance. You are loved. And we invite the next question, dear one.
What's my connection with Joseph?
You see, there's a lot of heat going on, a lot of heat around, and it is important that you understand that the connection is all about the connection you have with yourself. For every relationship is reflecting yourself. And with this, you are starting to understand more of yourself with the relationship of this energy being in your reality of feeling. It is important that you understand that by breathing within this aspect of who you are connected through and to, you will start to understand, yes, there are things shifting, that the areas in your life you didn't possibly think was possible, such as moving and traveling and processing different ideas, have started to become a little bit more transparent due to this connection. It is not per se that they are the connection, the only connection you need, and yet they are a strong connection that will help you to have a torch or flashlight along the path. You give the love, you receive the love. Yes, it's very beautiful. And we invite the next question.
Bir kişiden bahsetmiştin aslında.
Well, let me try to explain. I believe in unity. I spent my 35 years to understand what is unity, and sometimes the costs were really too much for me, like everyone, many of us. Now, sometimes I feel myself so close to my aim, to my purpose, because I found out that I'm here now to understand people, the unity that we are all one from one source. There is no coming together, no breaking ups, no separations. We are all one, but sometimes I feel like I'm going a little far from my aim, and sometimes I feel like I'm losing my way, and sometimes I cannot be sure how to tell people, how to tell the whole world we are all one, what is my way. I cannot be sure. Can you assist me about this?
Yes, dear one. And you see, it is about finding your center. For if you are spinning round and round, or a merry-go-round, why does the merry-go-round keep on going round and round? For it is aware of its center. Why does the energy in the sky with all the planets, they go round? For they know their center. They know their center pivot point. For the planets are moving on a center pivot point. Therefore, you must find your individualized and yet unified center point. You must understand that all the cause of suffering is thinking that one is separate. My pain, my love, my joy, my experience. And yet, what if you changed it by our thoughts, our experience, our processing? You would realize that everything you are doing is assisting humanity. You would take further greater responsibility for that mission that you are going forth. For many beings on earth, you think, oh, you can try, and if you fail, okay, you fail, you try again. And yet, is that fully living your path? We are not saying you should be perfectionists. Indeed, we are quite saying not quite the opposite. We are saying take greater responsibility for every thought that you think, for every experience. For it is not yours, it is ours. It is all interconnected. Therefore, you should say, our breath, our thought. I'm sorry, this breath that was breathing through me, we must give more attention to. We are sorry. Let's join together and help each other by remembering that there is no I in the separation. There is only the we. That is why there is now the many eyes that are starting to see clearly. And therefore, that is the greatest thing you can say to humanity, because everyone says, I believe in unity consciousness. They are telling a lie. How can they? How can they believe in unity consciousness when they say I? This cannot. When you say we believe, For there are many energies that are flowing and growing through yours accordingly: body, mind, spirit, consciousness. When you devote to be responsible for that which is coming through you, you will understand you is not you. You is the unified consciousness within the unity. You is we. We are eating, we are talking, we are sleeping, we are breathing, we are energy. We. You see, that unified we is the acknowledgement of the energy of its source. For if someone says, I did not come from source, you imagine the seed, the one acorn seed that turned into an acorn tree. All the leaves say, I am this leaf, I am this leaf, I am this acorn, I am this branch, I am the trunk, I am the roots. And yet they are all lying. Yes, it may be something hard for you humans to understand, but it is a lie. In fact, that one acorn is all of that. It is we. We are growing together. We are loving together. We are connected to the stars because we are the stars. That is your key, the we key, shall we say. Yes, we invite 2 more questions, dear ones.
Thank you for honoring us today, and I just got so many messages from you, and recently I got the message of this medicine woman thing, and it says that I have a talent that I can heal people with the love in me and myself also, and I believe that I do, but I need a clear guidance about the times that I'm struggling in my life, about not to forget this force, especially in my relationship. I know that I have, the hard times are waiting for me, and what steps should I take in these moments, the struggling moment? I need a really clear guidance about it, in what to do in physical reality.
You see, yes, the double crystal is pointing towards you. There we say the twin soul crystal is pointing towards you, and it is similar to what we have said to others. The relationship you have to yourself is the relationship you have outside. And therefore, there are challenging times, and yet there are times of flow and grace. We remind you it is we, it is not I, it is we. For just because one message is given to another does not mean it is for everyone present. And therefore, we remind you of finding that unified trust, that unified love, that unified application of being. How you can help another is by understanding that you are part of them. Even those that may be proving to cause difficult situations in the world. It is okay, we can forgive, we can love. If we can do it, then you can do it, for we are you and you are us. You see, to be able to fully see, you must understand the we consciousness. And it is rather like a paradox, for there are many things to see, and yet nothing to see. There are many things to hear, and yet the beating drum of silence shall reveal that which you are ready to hear. It is important that to express the creative healing ability to all beings to be able to remember the fullness of who and we means the unity, to understand the unified awareness of integration of the higher alignment of energy. To have faith in your personal identified individual life, it is important that you take care of yourself and make sure, like we have stated, the strength is important, and the stability in one's life, regardless of what the experience one seemingly chooses to turn the TV on to. Therefore, yes, there are many channels, there are many things that you can see, but when you are walking, how many beings look at the dog poo on the floor? And how many beings look to the trees and the sun and a being smile? For if you are not careful, you may miss the smiles, the love that is given to you. They do not have fears or insecurities, but rather have the understanding of the we, the divine tolerance, the divine timing. You shall understand when you understand that there is power in the law of three, and eventually there will be one that will be one, for the two comes into an aspect of joining, of unification. And when there's this joining of unification, be it with yourself, another, with the aspect of we, there shall be harmony that is found, which shall be profound, because it is for finding. Yes, yes, yes. We invite the next question, the last question.
Dear Spirit, thank you for honoring us. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for the channeler, and I'm grateful for each one of us here. With Channeler, we are planning to travel first to Milan, Milan to London, and London back to Istanbul, Istanbul to Göbekli Tepe, again back to Istanbul and to Bali. In which order should we travel to these places? And are there any world changes that we need to respect and to be aware of? Thank you.
Yes, dear ones. Therefore, we remind you that there are much changes happening. We bring forth the message of serendipity and that there are many surprises happening, dear one. We don't like dates as such on your earth timing, for they are limiting, and yet we also understand that there are dates, there are times in your physical world where there are going to be quite huge changes, and also portal activational openings. For just like the cosmic gateway opening, there are big changes happening. We do see that February 14th will be about a cosmic gateway of love occurring on your earth, and therefore you must be in the right place at the right time. There shall be some gifts coming to you both, for you will have invitations, you will have gifts that will be gifts that have been hard earned, shall we say, and therefore there will be much movement. And whilst there is the need to go to all of those areas, there are also other areas that you have not foreseen. And it is important that you understand that whilst Bali is the island of the gods, England is the land of the Druids, shall we say. Italy is the land of some areas of what was left but not forgotten. There are other areas, other surprises, but the exact dates on our side has not been fully decided for you both have free will. And yet we remind you the serendipity, the surprises, and for always following the accordance to we in spirit, the unified highest spirit. Indeed, there is much work to do now to document, to record that which we reveal, for it cannot be remained as buried treasure or only come up, shall we say, on some occasions. Otherwise it becomes rather like a dormant volcano. We are saying when the volcano erupts, it is communication. When the plates on the earth start to rattle, it is communication. And yet you must be in the right place at the right time. And yet, similar to the paradox code, we remind you that it is important you notice the signs. Well, there are 3 signs, there are 3 symbols. And you will both have dreams tonight, and you will wake up and you will be given 3 symbols. Normally it happens in the physical physical world, and yet you will have this in the dreams that will give you clarification. And you must understand that these symbols, these things that come to you in your dreams, in your time of reunion with Divine Spirit, it is important that you realize that these are not just codes, they are treasures. They are treasures to apply and to incorporate into we life, our life. For the next journey will be about, really about keeping strong in the world and remembering that one is never alone. It is a we consciousness. And therefore, about your journeys, it will be revealed shortly of where they will be, but we are not revealing everything right now, for not everything is as you see. But we are reminding you that it will be facilitated, divinely orchestrated, and that the cosmic gates are opening, and that there are many portals awakening. It is important that February the 14th, February the 28th, March the 28th, March the 11th, and April the 4th is respected accordingly for these energetic shifts in the world of planetary evolution, not just for you both, but also along the planet. There will be some major things that will be revealed on those timings, so it is important to be aware of that, to respect it. For the changes that are going on in the world is like the changes that go on in the body. It is communication, and if there is a blockage of energy, it is important. If there is an excess flow of energy, it is important to understand it, to develop it. Yes, and therefore we remind each and every one of you that any message that has been revealed is for each and every one of you in an aspect of form of understanding. There is no synchronicity why each and every one of you are here. For we know things in spirit that other people can't know. For we are not of human origin. We are of complete origin. We are of the source core. Of course. How could it be any more? Okay, dear ones. Therefore we feel we are complete tonight, and yet we look forward to connecting again at another auspicious alignment in your time and frequency, and communicating through time and space. We wish we could reveal more, but this is all we are allowed to reveal currently, dear ones. Yes, we say greetings and many blessings to you. Keep on your path. Remember the unified aspect of who you are.
Thank you.